So, yeah, what does this contractor want? So, or human, or relationship, or your partner, what it is, right? So, your partner might be saying, I'm not happy with the house, it's the way it's cleaned. But what are they really saying? What's this storyline really saying? It's saying, I want you to be home more, help me settle the house down so that we can maybe have more enjoyable times together. So when someone is talking, what do they really want? That's what it's all about, right? So if someone says to me, I don't like money, they might say to me. Well, is it because you don't like money, or you can't seem to get enough? So then you just put a storyline around it. So to avoid the pain of always feeling like you don't have money, you just say, I don't like money. And then if you say that to yourself, you feel better. You're like, oh cool, I don't like money anyway. I don't have any, so, you know what I mean? So it's all a storyline, right? It's a great concept, applicable to everything you do. So as you wake up into the world, and you're like, okay, well, the whole world is trying to run me through these storylines. Is it true? Probably not, but it's useful, right? Do I want to listen to that storyline, or do I want to recreate my own one? Because you do live in a world where you have to work with everyone, right? But, yeah, it is about, again, not getting caught up in that storyline. As, it's a storyline. You're hypnotizing yourself. You're just sort of playing, you're like a character in a movie. You're hypnotizing yourself and you're playing this character. It works and goes to this and does that. It's just like a relationship, when you are first, in a relationship or during a relationship, you are hypnotizing each other, hopefully for the positive, to make each other feel good and all that kind of stuff. But you can do it in the negative as well. So, if we go back to, the initial concept we were talking about, which is, now I've forgotten actually what we were initially talking about, which is, what were we talking about? So we had hypnosis, we had storyline, we had, I can't remember. But I hope what we've spoken about has been useful. As you, open your eyes, you look into the world and go, what's the storyline the world's trying to push at me? Is it true? No, it's just designed to make society function the way people want me to act and do. They want to make sure that I go to work. So if people want to make sure that I go to work so that the world has goods and services, because if people stop working, there'll be no goods and services, right? So then they'll tell me a storyline. Work is good, being productive is good, you're a good member of society, you'll have good mental health, So then society pushes these concepts onto you, And if you don't believe it, it's not like you'll stay at home and do nothing. You can be like, well, that sounds pretty fair, those concepts sound pretty good. And you just sort of take it on and you function through your world, all the while knowing that you're just playing this game with yourself inside your brain. You're just hypnotizing yourself with a storyline, with a mythology, all the while knowing that it's not actually fully 100% true. Oh yeah, that's the concept, right? Truth, right? Versus the opposite of the truth. So you got, anytime you approach a concept, and if I say to you, I'm trying to communicate to you guys saying, you always, no matter how are we going to be successful, for example, I might say to you, Varun might say to you, well, the way to be successful is to be working really hard, or you're pushing the boundaries of existence, So I might say, well, you have to push your thinking to create better ways of doing things. So you are being maybe creative, right? So then you might think, yes, Varun's saying some awesome stuff, I'm going to be creative, right? So you're putting creativity on a pedestal, your idea of creativity, you're making it the light. You're making it like an important thing that is truth, right? It's the truth. But if you're being creative all the time, it can mean that you can never have a stable organization. You can never have a procedure sheet. You can never expand because you're creating, and there's no business behind it to create a product because you just keep creating new products. So then, even though I've said you have to be creative, creative can also lead to the downfall as well. So again, you have to sort of balance these concepts out. Right? So, yeah. So, what I'm saying is, is it a kind of a shocking concept? You're like, oh, well, what are you saying? There's no truth. Is there a truth? It's all very scary to even think about it, So I guess the way that I think about it is, you're just a character in a movie. You're like a character, a computer game. You get your PlayStation out, your computer game, you've got your character, you set its preferences, you set its strength, and it learns and it fights different things and it gets better, it gets stronger, it gets smarter as the character goes along. You can add armor to it, you can add different characteristics as you go through. It becomes, smarter, becomes, all these different character attributes, has a stronger storyline as the character evolves in many ways, right? You're the same thing. Sometimes you can just see yourself as a character and you're just tweaking the character, but the only scenario is you're actually sitting inside that body at the same time. So you're tweaking your own character, you're messing around with it, you're hypnotizing yourself, you're changing your storylines, but instead of you being sitting here and watching the character on your screen, you are actually sitting inside this body and mind as a character. That's how I sort of see it, and it seems to work.